Oh, 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 oh. Oh, hi, yes. Welcome to the vault. Hello, nieces and nephews, and welcome back to Unkle Orlok's Vault. This episode, we're going to be doing one of the horror greats, one of the classic horror greats, Val Lewton, independent producer over at RKO. Now, you may not have heard of Val Lewton, and I'm going to help you with that, because Val Lewton sort of became the answer to the Universal monster movies and the popularity of Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, all those films that came out in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s over and made tons of money for Universal. He became that answer over at RKO Studios. Now, RKO did not have the budget Universal had. Their budget was minuscule, but that's why they brought in somebody like Val Lewton. Now, Val Lewton was born in 1904 in Yalta as Vladimir Ivanovich Levington. Say that 3 times fast. When he came over from Berlin and then over later again to the United States of America, they shortened his name down to Val Lewton. He became kind of known as a writer of pulpy novels, articles, and sometimes even under pseudonyms, certain pornography. But it got him noticed by David O. Selznick, the great David O. Selznick, Gone with the Wind David O. Selznick, who put him to work as a script writer and a story editor. He worked on such pictures as Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, and he also, well, you know the big scene with all the bodies in Gone with the Wind? He put the bodies in Gone with the Wind. So he also, when working on a Selznick adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, met a very important future collaborator, director Jacques Tourneur, who would be very important when he went over and started working on the low-budget horror films.
Dans les nuages, il proposait des choses impossibles à terre. C'est pour ça qu'on se complétait très bien tous les deux et on travaillait très bien. J'ai toujours été très terre à terre. Et c'était une période très agréable de ma vie parce qu'il me donnait à moi une poésie dont j'ai bien besoin. Et les 3 films qu'on a fait ensemble avaient un côté très poétique.
Now, when I say low budget, what's low budget? Well, it means they didn't have the monsters, they didn't have the makeups, they didn't have the big castles, they didn't have the special effects. What they had was Val Lewton as a great writer who would end up doing drafts on every one of the scripts and basically relying more on what was unseen to create terror in the mind of the viewer. It was a little bit more of a psychological adult approach to horror. When I say terror versus horror, horror tends to make you say it's repulsive or shocking. Terror is something that kind of gets under your skin, and that's what Val Lewton was a master of. Pictures, empty streets, shadows and fog, reality that's not quite reality, more like a fantasy or a nightmare that you're being pulled into. Now, it's one of my favorite things to do. If we're going to start with Val Lewton, we're going to start with the first 2 and best pictures that really put Val Lewton on the map. So we're going to start with a double feature, baby. Light Me. Yeah, light my cigar. Ah, Jesus Christ. Cat People, 1942, directed by Jacques Tourneur, and starring Simone. Now, Simone in this picture plays Urena, a Serbian woman who believes that when she becomes sexually aroused, she turns into a cat person. We're talking claws and all, folks. But now, here's the thing about this picture, and what Val Lewton did so cleverly, is because they didn't have the budgets that Universal had, everything is done as terror of the mind. Meaning, you never really see Simone turn into a Catwoman, but you believe, just like she does, that it happens in the shadows and the darkness, in the periphery, all done through sound, editing, and lighting. So one of the highlight scenes in this picture is a scene that really shows up Val Lewton's kind of mastery of the terror of the mind. When Simone's character, Urena, follows this other woman who she's consumed with jealousy because she believes she's having an affair with her husband. So it's following this woman down these desolate streets in parts of New York. No one's around. It's only the sound of clicking of heels as she hears it coming behind her. as she passes through the light and the shadow underneath the tunnel, all of a sudden there's this jump scare of a bus that comes screeching through, and the purring of the engine kind of blends into the purring of a panther. This was something that was kind of shocking to audiences in 1942 and kind of exemplifies the types of scares that play throughout Cat People and why it's such a moody masterpiece that would get carried on into the other films. Justino was one of the first directors that Val Lewton brought in. Later on would bring on Mark Robeson and also the great Robert Wise in his first directorial debut, which was a sort of pseudo sequel to this film called Curse of the Cat People. So this was a huge box office hit and really got the ball rolling for RKO. Now on a personal note, Simone, she's everything Unkle Orlok likes. She's French, she's cursed, and she's housebroken. Next up, I Walked with a Zombie, 1943, also directed by Jacques Tourneur. Now, I Walked with a Zombie deals with themes of colonialism, slavery, and Haitian voodoo. Now, did you ever wonder what it would be like to be a woman under a voodoo trance, loved by two men? Well, Val Lewton does. It's loosely based on Jane Eyre. Set in the West Indies, this nurse is brought to this man's plantation, a former slave plantation, to take care of his wife who's in this voodoo-like trance. Every night she's lured out by some sort of witch doctor, and as the film goes deeper and darker into this dreamlike trance, we start to begin to see the revelations of the characters intertwined in what became so well known in the Val Lewton style. Now, I Walked with a Zombie really went deeper and kind of leveled up the horror of the mind approach that Val Lewton brought to these pictures. It uses silence to create a waking nightmare in which, in my opinion, is pure visual poetry. Capturing the melancholy mood of a wartime audience, Val Lewton pushed the genre beyond just matinee monsters and makeups. Now, if you want to go deeper into the shadows of Val Lewton, check out other films like Curse of the Cat People, Bedlam, The Seventh Victim, Isle of the Dead, The Body Snatcher, and The Leopard Man. Well, that's it for this episode of Unkle Orlok's Vault, and oh, wait, what do we have coming here? Oh, we got bat mail. Oh, a bat mail. Oh, let's see what he's got in his mouth. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Oh, thank you. Let's see. This is going to be the subject of our next episode. And let's see. Well, we have a holiday treat coming up for you in the next episode of Unkle Orlok's Vault, when we're going to discuss Black Christmas, the original slasher film before Halloween, Black Christmas. So join us then. Stick with us, nieces and nephews. Coochie coo, baby.